episode 2 of my podcast. Damn straight, I hope you've been doing well. I hope you've had a nice week since the last episode. If you watched it or not, I don't know. But yeah, I hope life's doing well. If not, do not worry. Your struggles and your pain aren't as strong as when they first appeared forever. You know, time slowly kills them, which is a good it's a damn good thing. So yeah. But in today's episode, I'm gonna go through anger and like this miracle that happened, which happened yesterday as of recording this, which I think is a valuable story you need to know, and yeah, something you can learn from. Then I'm going to go into journaling. Then I'm going to go into is boxing rigged or not, because apparently a lot of people think it is. I'll give my own opinion on that. And then I'm late to this, but I will give you some information on that and what you can take from the TikTok being banned in USA and then being unbanned. You know, I had a feeling it was going to be unbanned anyways, but yeah, we'll get into that later. So first off, we'll start with this miracle and this lesson I got from anger. So, yesterday, I had to go to an event, and this event I really did not want to go to because it was pointless to me. It didn't align with my goals, with my dreams or anything. It was what I was forced to do it was what I was forced to do, which sucked, but I had to do it, Monday night, I prayed to God before I went to bed. That's when I always pray. I asked him to give me a miracle because I really did not want to go to this event, and I knew it would not align with me. I said to him, God, you and I both know this isn't for me. And I hope he does know. Well, be clear, did know because of what happened. But yeah, it wasn't for me. This thing, it didn't align with my goals, my dreams. I should not be there, and that's kind of what angered me. But I asked him for a miracle, for a blessing, and I said, even though I don't deserve one, please give me a miracle. Because I really need it, because for all I know, this event could be the end of my dreams. It could kill my dreams. And yeah, I could just be, these past 2 years could just be for nothing for all I know. So I asked him, please just give me a miracle. And I went to tears. I'll be honest with you, I went into tears. I will expose myself. I did start crying and that. But I went to bed. I didn't have any hope. I was doubting him. I'm like, he ain't going to do it. I just know he ain't. I've asked for some stuff like this in the past and he didn't answer. Well, God always answers, but it's not always with a yes. So we just assume he's not answered, but he always answers your prayers. And anyways, I went to sleep and I'm like, oh, it's going to be hell tomorrow. So yeah, but I woke up and I was frustrated. I was angry, I was shouting to myself, cursing to myself, how effing and jeffing. I'm a Christian, obviously, I'm trying to stop swearing. But then all the swear words were coming out, and I was just shouting to myself like, oh, I don't deserve to be here, I've done all this, why am I being along with these other people, they're lazy and I'm not, look what I've been doing and all that, and I'm going back and forth with being egotistical and being humble, saying stuff like, oh, I don't deserve to be there, but then my mind was going like, oh no, but it's your fault, you should have done better, and going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, and just hell. Right, and obviously then that got out of my system. Then I journaled, which also going on later after this, and just horrible. And then obviously my grandma came. I can't drive obviously, but she picked me up, which I really appreciate. She took me and got there, she went off as she does. Drove off and I got to the building, went into the reception bit, and it goes, is the event on this community event? It's from 1 to 3. I go, what? It goes, yeah, this event that's happening 1 to 3. And I checked on the computers and all that, and it goes, oh, I'm so sorry, it'll be yesterday. And as soon as she said it was yesterday, my mind and every bit of worry, stress, anger, whatever feeling just came out of me, And I felt free. And I'm like, oh my days, he actually gave me a miracle. Now you may not think it was a miracle. You may think, oh, you're an idiot, because I got the dates wrong. Because I clearly had it in my head it was on Tuesday. And I heard someone the week before say, oh, it's on Tuesday. So it was in my mind that entire week it was on Tuesday. Alright? And what you're going to understand is, I went to it as if it was on Tuesday. I went to the building, so if it was on Tuesday, I would have attended it. Alright? I didn't purposely, mix up the dates and goes, oh, I'm going to mess it up on purpose. No. I genuinely went there with the intentions of it being on that day. Lovely stuff. And, you know, I didn't miss it on purpose, but the fact that I didn't have to go was the miracle, because I literally said to God, please, just, I don't care how, just don't make me go to that event. And obviously I didn't go, you know, and I was so happy. I had to hide my smile, you know, I had to hide my smile of it not happening, you know. And yeah, and then obviously I walked out and I had to do an hour 20-minute walk from home, but walk to home, sorry, but I didn't care because I missed the event. And you may think, oh, you lazy SOB, or you puff, whatever. It didn't align with me, so there was no point in me going, you know. It was just pointless for me. So yeah, and I'm just so happy that I missed it. But, you know, on that walk home, I got to thank God, which I'm very grateful for. And I also got to resonate and meditate on the on my anger, and thoughts of putting it into this podcast I'm recording today. And well, the first two things you've got to understand with anger is you can't let it control you, because you won't be you. You'll act out and you'll be like the devil, and that is not good at all. So you can't let it control you. And the second thing is, if you're going to let it out in a controlled environment, like me, who let it out at home, not in public or anywhere like that where it can do some damage, alright? Those are the two important things you've got to do, or understand, about anger. And what the third thing is, you don't stuff it down, because it'll just come back up, right? You need to get it out some way or another, whether that's meditating on it and realising what's making you angry, and, you know, not acting on it, and, you know, being very careful about it, and then getting out of your system, flushing out your system, or whether you let it all out like I did and just F and Jeff, and yeah, you know, they're like the two things. They're like the two things you've got to do with anger, because, like I said, if not, you'll be like the devil, and anger just causes more issues than solves. I say anger's like a placebo effect, if you know what I mean. Like, it can kind of make you feel good in the moment, but in reality it doesn't do anything. It doesn't stop the thing from happening, or from the thing that's happened, it doesn't do anything. It just can cause more situations. So the quicker you can get out of that, the better, you know. Because, and let's say you have stumbled from anger, let's say you've caused another issue because of it. Again, try and get out of that situation as quick as possible to either stop yourself from doing some damage or doing further damage than what you've already done. Because if not, your consequences could be serious. And I mean, like, what anger can literally lead to you killing someone. I'm not saying I would have done that in that situation, but, you know, if you're angry at a person or something and you let it get out of control, who's to say you're not going to go and hit him or attack him or whatever, you know? So yeah, anger is a very serious thing you've got to solve. And that can transition into the second part of this podcast, which is obviously on journaling, because journaling can really help with anger. And if you don't know if you're not really sure what journaling is, basically it is when you write down your thoughts, your feelings, your emotions, your experiences, anything like that, right? And some people are like, oh, but I don't know how to, I don't, you know, it's just too much. Maybe that's fine. I've got two ways you can get into journaling if you haven't. One is what I did, which is gratitude journaling, which is when you write down 5 to 10 things you're grateful for every day. Like, who can't do that? The second thing is literally just journaling a sentence. Who can't write down a sentence, you know? Something you experienced, a quote you've learned, anything, just write down a sentence and then build up from that. That's all you got to do. And, you know, don't do this thing that I used to do, which is not be very truthful with yourself, because you've got to understand journaling is like a conversation between you and yourself, or at least you and the paper. Like Anne Frank said, paper is more patient than people. So yeah, but don't write in it as if someone else is going to read it. Don't write in it as if you're worried if someone else is going to see it or anything like that. Be very truthful. Like when I've been angry, for example, some of the stuff I've written there, with a sound mind, I would not even think of. But yeah, you know, it's just one of those things that you've got to let out, because when you journal, you get your thoughts on paper, which is, well, it's what you need, so you can see your thoughts, but you also create room in your mind. So yeah, and people do therapy. and I'm kind of against it, but if it works, fair enough. But the thing is, I've had multiple people in my life who've gone and done therapy, and they've still had their issues, alright? But I'm here, out there journaling and stuff, and with God, and I was fine. You know, I got my issues sorted and that. So I'm not saying like you shouldn't do therapy, because if you are doing it, then fair enough, and I hope it works. But if you're new to it all and you really need an answer, I'd recommend journaling first, because, well, therapy, it's you and a person there. They've got like a notebook or something, or some piece of paper. They'll ask you questions and ask you what's happened, and then they'll write it down. That is literally journaling. You ask yourself questions, you think about stuff, and you write it down. The only difference is you're paying for a lot more money, and it's got a person in the middle between you journaling down your thoughts and that. And who knows you better than yourself? Like I said, paper is more patient than people. You know, paper won't judge you, it won't lie to you, it won't spread the things you've said about you or anything like that. It's just between you and you, and that's what you've got to worry about. But it's helped me so much. It's helped me calm down, it's helped me understand things better, it's helped me get a better mind. It's improved, like, it's amazing for your mental health. So if you're watching this and you're depressed or anything like that, please journal. The amount of times I've told my depressed mates or whatever, just journal, just try it. It's not going to hurt and it'll make you feel better. And then, well, they don't really listen to me, and then I do therapy, or they just make themselves worse and do drugs and stuff. And yeah, I've had a mate, I don't speak to him anymore, but he's just lost himself to drugs and that because of stuff like that. I just feel so bad for him, but I told him, you know, I didn't force it down his throat. I didn't get like a notebook and like, journal, and stuff it down his throat. Well, I just said, bro, you need to journal. I recommend you to journal because it's not going to hurt, and I don't care what people say. It's not cringy, it's not stupid, it will work, it will help you. But it just weren't one of those people, and he's just hooked on drugs now, and yeah, buckle with the lass. Yeah, and it broke my heart. It broke my heart, and I was so angry, I was so upset, frustrated, especially how it happened as well. It all happened, breaking up with her and that. But I wrote it down in my journal, as you do. Every bit of pain, every bit of anger, I wrote down. You know, everything I felt, I wrote down. So, and what happened because of that is because it's in my journal, I can look back here, and that is one of the many benefits. You can look back in the past and keep track of everything. So I got over her, and obviously all of that was in my journal still. But then she called me, and why the heck I answered, I don't know, but she called me and she said to me, like she said that she still loved me, she said that she wanted to get back with me, and I thought, what? You know, and then all that pain and that worry and that anger just came back to me. And what happened then was I went back for all those feelings, and it was horrible, but because I journaled it down in the past, I got to look back and read what happened, and that helped me move on a lot more, because, well, the second time hurt more. That she said that she still loved me, she said that she wanted me back and everything. Like, it took me by storm, you know. But yeah, thankfully I had the past feelings and my past journalings to help me. If I didn't, it would took me a lot longer to get over it. But you know, everything I put down, I felt before, so I reread my journals, and it helped me get over. I just repeated the steps, really, you know, and read what I put down, and I was fine after that. But that's one of the many benefits, you know. You get to learn from your past, and that is an amazing thing. On to the third thing, and which is boxing rigged? Now, I see this all the time. Like, I see like a video on TikTok about results from a boxing match or something, and everyone goes, "Oh, it's rigged," and oh, you know, yeah. Which is it's like the most common answer if your favourite person lost. Now, do I think it's rigged? I don't. Well, influence boxing, like influencer boxing, like YouTubers and that, I can see that being kind of rigged, like especially with the bigger people. And the only times I've really thought of like modern boxing being rigged, like professional boxing, is when it was Francis Ngannou versus Tyson Fury. And the reason I thought with that was because Ngannou would knock Tyson Fury down, and that clearly would have put him far ahead in points. And the fact is, I don't think boxing would have wanted the face of their company to lose against a UFC fighter. That's why I thought it was rigged then. And on the influence thing, I kind of thought Tommy Fury versus KSI was rigged, but KSI just looked like he does a lot better than Tommy Fury. But then, who wants like a Fury, you know, a professional boxer, to lose to a YouTuber, you know? So yeah. But it can be dodgy, I think. But any sport can be, really, apart from WWE, because we know that's scripted. But I do love WWE. But football sometimes can be rigged, you know. UFC, I feel like UFC could have at some points, you know, because who's to say it's not? Any competitive sport can be rigged. I don't think it's completely rigged, but it's definitely been rigged at moments. So yeah, and then back in the day, which is my favourite boxing, like from 90s and before, that's like my favourite era, you know, like Muhammad Ali and all that. I've mentioned that before in the last episode. But I don't think it was rigged then, because it just isn't. But now I think there's possibilities of it being rigged, but who's to say? You know, who's to say? But I do think boxing is a bit more boring now than what it was, and that's why I'm more addicted to the older style. But overall, boxing could be rigged. That's my answer. Boxing could be rigged. So, yeah. Right. Now to the final bit, which is about the TikTok being banned in USA. So when that happened, I was actually planning on posting a video on one of my TikTok accounts about it and all that, but I didn't. I mean, it's a good job I didn't, really, because when I was going to post it and make it, I realised, oh, they're being unbanned. Like, in the same day, USA, TikTok got banned and then unbanned. But there's some lessons you've got to take from that. You've got to think, you've got to be very careful, because who's to say that it won't get banned again, especially in your country. Like, I live in the UK, so let's say if it was still banned in USA, it could very well have been banned in the UK probably in like a year or something, for all we know. The thing is, in the UK, the government, it's illegal to, well, TikTok is legal in the government and people around that area, not to the citizens. Whilst in America, the government wanted to make it so it's banned all over, which is kind of a stupid idea, but yeah. But I reckon if it stayed banned in USA, UK would have been banned, maybe Australia and some other countries like that. So what you've got to take from that is, don't be complacent and think TikTok or whatever like that will be around forever, because who's to say it will be, right? What I'd recommend you to do is to not spread yourself thin, but always have at least like a backup place. So like, let's say if TikTok got banned, you'd be able to be on Instagram or YouTube or vice versa, because a lot of people in USA then have had the business on there, did content creation, or just got promotions from the business, or, you know, wanted to get an audience for the business. Their money flow would have just stopped like that, and that would have sucked. You know, they could have had to go to close the business to get a 9 to 5, or what. They could have even become homeless, or we know. But thankfully, you know, it got unbanned. That's what I'm saying. You've got to realise that it may not be there forever, so be careful and don't put all your eggs in one basket. So obviously, if it does get banned, you've still got money coming in, and yeah, which is for me, like, I'm on TikTok, Instagram and YouTube and Facebook, but I'm probably going to leave Facebook because it doesn't seem to be doing well. The other thing I'm going to go into, but obviously it's unbanned, was if TikTok did stay banned in USA, there was an advantage to that, which would have been there was places to fill, obviously, for the banned accounts. So, you know, you could have like promoted your account and improved, and you could have become like the next big influencer, for all we know, you know. But obviously that doesn't really matter because, well, it's got unbanned. But I'm glad it has, you know, because it's like USA is probably the biggest audience for TikTok, and on one of my accounts, a third of so over 10,000 of my followers was from the USA. So yeah, that kind of would have sucked, but it's not all about your numbers of your followers, but you know, I'm just saying. So yeah, but it's a good job it's not banned though, and it did suck. I did really think it sucked that they had to go through that. You know, some people weren't. You know, UK and USA have big arguments, but I like the USA. Like, I'd love to go to the USA, and I probably will do. America. You know, I probably will do when I'm older at some point. So yeah, I'd be excited for that, because everyone's like, oh, just get shot in there in America. Well, all that happens in the UK is you get stabbed. Australia, you probably get attacked by like a spider or a kangaroo or something. So, you know, yeah. They're all equal, if you know what I mean. But, you know, something to think about getting banned. I kind of saw it though. I mean, it was going to happen. When was it going to happen? I think when Joe Biden was in charge, it was going to happen. They were going to try and get it banned, but it didn't happen. So, yeah, but who's to say again? It's not going to happen again, you know? I mean, whilst Donald Trump's in charge, it won't, but after him, who's to say, you know? And, like, who's to say it's not going to get banned in the UK now? So, yeah, got to be careful about that. But yes, yeah, that is it for today. It's a bit shorter than episode 1, but you know, some episodes will be some episodes will be longer, some will be shorter. So you know, it is what it is. I hope this keeps going, you know, because I do like it. But we'll see what happens, you know. But thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. Thanks for your attention. Thanks for giving me your time. You know that. I hope you learned something. I hope you can take away something from this. And as I did in episode 1, I'll leave you with a bit of wisdom, and I'll leave you with a book that I recommend. The book I recommend, 48 Laws of Power. Alright. Now, please take this book with a pinch of salt, because it is banned in prisons, and there's a very good reason for that. The laws it gives you for power, like it gives you manipulation techniques and ways to get people to come to your side and all that, and how to control people. So please take it with a pinch of salt, because you may start to think that people around you are trying to manipulate you and stuff, and you will gain very powerful skills which cannot be mistreated, because it could lead to all sorts of trouble. That's why it's banned in prisons, because literally prisoners could get the skills to manipulate guards or other inmates to get things for them and help them escape. That's why it's banned, or that's the most likely reason. Some people said, oh, it's because the book's big. Well, I've got the concise version, which is a smaller version, so that can't be used as a weapon, as that's what they say it is. And the Bible is in the prisons. Yeah, the Bible is in the prisons, and that's over 1,000 pages. So I'm pretty sure a 1,000-page book is going to be a lot more deadly than a 400-page book or 300-page book. So yeah, that is how deadly it is. But it's amazing. It'll teach you how to like get power over people, how to get them to your side. You know, how to manipulate them and control them. It's powerful. I've used it a few times and it worked every time. So you know, I've used it for simple things and more severe things. So yeah, but take it with a pinch of salt and don't abuse the power with it. Here's the bit of wisdom I'm going to give you. So when something's gone, don't try and hold on to it, just let it go. Because the more you try and hold on to it, the more it hurts. For example, the longer you hold on to a glass of water, no matter how heavy it is, the more it hurts. Yeah, so when someone goes in your life or something goes in your life, don't hold on to it, let it go, let them go, and move on towards the next thing. Because you'll progress, obviously, and you'll grow, but you also won't be stuck in the past, and you won't be stuck on them. For me, you know, I broke up with a lass, as you do, you know, but I didn't try and hold on to that. I just let her go, and then obviously I could recover from what's happened, and I grew from it. I realised who I wanted to be with, which was not the type of person she was. So yeah, and then you just move on and you get better. So you've got to let that person go, you've got to let that thing go, because if not, it will just drag you down and it will hurt. So it may hurt to let go, but it will hurt a lot more if you hold on. So keep that in mind.